Next up, we've got Cable number 8. So 3 Duggan books in a row. This one almost was my pick of the week. It was so damn good. And I also feel like, there have been a couple issues of Cable where I felt like the artist kind of got lazy, like the perspectives was a little off. Mm-hmm. And this one was not the case. This one was on fire, dude. So Cable is doing this whole, like, trying to solve the mystery of missing mutant babies. And, when that story initially was, Oric was initially introduced, I was kind of like, what are we doing here? Mm-hmm. But then it's gotten some legs. And so what we get in this book is, the previous book, Cable recruited Domino to help him with this case. And so we get a little bit more of the dynamic between Cable and Domino, and really young Cable learning about the Domino Cable dynamic that he has never known about. Right. And, I feel like Domino has a lot of those comedic qualities that Deadpool has, except they're just a little bit more fine-tuned. And so that's what we get in this book. Like, they literally start the book in Tokyo, and Cable's like, why are we here? Like, is this where we need to be? Because, like, your powers are dictating that we need to be here. And she's like, no, I just want really good gyoza, and I can get it here.
When I was reading this, I was like, damn, man, I want some gyoza, too.
Right? That sounded really good. And I was reading this book, like, around lunchtime, too. So they have a dialogue, and we unearth a little bit of history, and it's almost like when they're doing this and Cable's having a talk with Domino, he gets a little starry-eyed, like, yo, I could date this lady. and Domino's like, yeah, you're a little young. I'm sorry. Like, your older version is a little too old, and you're just a little too young. Sorry, bro. And so they're having this dialogue, they're having this discussion, and Cable sees out of his eye one of the followers of X, or I can't remember the name of it, the Cult of X.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh shit, no, that's our guy. Let's go. And so she starts running, and Domino's like, yeah, give me a sec, I gotta finish my food. And so he follows him, and he realizes that it's an aged version of him. It's a clone of him. And so when he gets into this, I'm messing up here. The guy, the clone, locks himself up in like a closet or some kind of room, and Cable can't figure out how to get in, and then he kind of puts 2 and 2 together, and he uses his own eye, and it recognizes him. So right off the bat, it's fishy. And so he goes in, and the guy's like, hey, this whole time we're looking for Strife, which is, am I saying that right? Strife?
Yeah, Strife.
Strife, who is a clone that Apocalypse made of Cable. He's the one pulling the strings of all this, apparently. And so they kind of have like a dueling of words, to the point where Cable's like, listen, I need you to come with me alive. Like, you're the key to me figuring out all this shit. And he goes, yeah, just know that whatever you do, whatever you think you're going to do to me, Strife will do 10 times worse to me. And he ends up killing himself. And in doing that, he releases more clones, and they're actually direct clones of Cable. And so we get a match, and literally they look exactly like him. Mm-hmm. And so they're
everything.
Huh? Yeah, everything. Clothes. And so they're fighting it out, and they kind of subdue him, and Domino shows up in the room kind of like with her mouth kind of full, and she's like, oh hey, I'm here. And then she realizes that the shit's going down, and so she pulls her gun out, and she just starts shooting Cables. And you would assume she's doing it with some kind of precision. No, because she's Domino and she's all about the luck. She just shoots and asks questions later. Mm-hmm. And so she kills a bunch of Cables, and I think one shows up and he thinks, right, like it's like, oh hey,
yeah, he says, amazing shooting, Domino. How did you know which one was the copies? And she says, I didn't. And then she's like, he was like, oh, so you just shot till you're empty? And she's like, no, I have one more. Boom.
Blows his head off, yeah. And then she picks up the real Cable, and they start the best part of this is, so she's like, how did what do we do now? Like, I needed one of them to be alive. And she goes, hang on 1 minute. And she goes, 1, 2, math, 11. Oof, bad news. There's still one left. And so they chase another Cable clone into the alley, and he pretty much gives up pretty quickly. And he's like, they're like, hey, put your gun down. And it's raining, and they're stepping in a puddle, and he drops the gun that he has, and it's a taser gun. And he's able to subdue Cable and Domino. And so we don't know exactly what the play is here, except for the fact that it looks like Strife is trying to invade Krakoa with a carbon copy of Cable. And so if this one survives, it'll work. And so this one is basically giving off like this evil plan speech. And while all this is going on, at the beginning of the book, Domino explained her powers like with the representation of a meteor field or an asteroid field. And so she goes, like, her powers basically are anticipating trajectories and collisions. And so that illustration is set up in the beginning of the book. He's giving out this clone is giving away his like evil speech, and then we see something flying from the atmosphere all the way down, and the guy's like, Cable goes, what is that? And thump, and rips his head off. And Domino goes, or no, actual Cable goes, did you plan that? And she's like, nope, it's just how it goes, man. Like, so, he gets the plan, but he lost any connection to Strife in this book. And it leaves Cable upset initially with Apocalypse, because he's the one that kind of created all this in lore of X-Men. But he's just pissed because like he's just kind of chasing this rabbit that's always eluding him. And then the book ends with us back at Old Man Cable going into a building or some kind of facility, and I'm intrigued by that storyline. I just don't know what the hell's going on, and I know that like Duggan is setting it up for this big reveal. Yeah. But if there's any kind of like me being disappointed, I guess would be that, because like I just want to know what the hell's going on with Old Man Logan, like, or not Logan, Cable.
Cable. Yeah, it feels like that's gonna get drug out for a while.
I mean, it has been for 8 issues.
Like, I think it's gonna keep going.
Because I thought he was for some reason I thought he was in limbo, and I think he still is. I don't know. Either way, I did enjoy this though, and this one was almost my pick of the week.
Yep, it was a good one.